Let's go through the close. Remember, the close is all about empathy. The close is all about making the person feel comfortable making a decision. One of the things that we can easily do is overwhelm a client. And if we overwhelm a client, they're not going to pull the trigger. We have to make it incredibly comfortable to them. So the first thing we got to remember is when we get to the close, no new information. Everything's already been covered in the presentation. No new information. They go into reset mode. And 90% of the time, what's going to happen is they're going to subconsciously decide not to decide. They're not going to decide no, they're going to decide not to decide. And that's when we get into the I need to think about it, or I need to talk to so and so, or all of those kind of things. So always remember that. If you forgot to mention something in your presentation, let it go. Because if you throw it in during the close, you're going to derail their thought processes. And now, have it ready for an objection. So be ready to bring it back out in the objection phase, but don't just say, oh, I forgot this. If you say that, if you ever found yourself saying that in the presentation, I guarantee you didn't close it because you put pressure back on them again. So what do we do? How do we get from high energy presentation to the close? This question is a transition question that actually brings your energy down. If money wasn't an issue, would you want to buy this product? What that does is it takes every non money, everything besides monetary comes off the table when you ask that. Because you're really saying, hey, if I gave you this, would you take it? And if their answer isn't yes, then you know that you've got more work to do. So now you've transitioned. My job now is to find something that helps solve your problem at a price you're comfortable with. Now we're working with empathy, trying to get to that point where they move. Then at the end, when you've narrowed it down to one choice. Now, why do we narrow it to one choice? Because people hate making decisions. If I've got too many decisions to make and too many options, I will choose not to decide. And you have to intercept that. And so then when you get down to one option, you ask for the sale. Are you ready to move forward with this? Are you ready to get started? You know that there's a money issue, that they're just not comfortable with that price. What usually happens is you present the value, you present the price. If the value that they see in your product is much higher than the price, they'll buy quickly. If the value they see in your product is lower than the price, they're not going to buy. But most of the time, things are priced pretty much right, and it's right there about even. And if it's even, then that's where you have to step up, and this is when the real close starts. So when they say they need to think about it, when they say anything other than hell no, or here's my credit card, you know in their mind the perceived value and the price is pretty close, and you've got to navigate those waters. Now, no one likes talking about money. Nobody likes talking about money with a total stranger, and nobody likes talking about money in any way that they think might reflect poorly on them. So now you're at a point where you have to have a conversation about money with a person who doesn't want to talk to you about money. And so that's when you get into the I'll call you back Monday and the conversation never happens and the sale goes away and you wonder, I don't know why this guy didn't buy because he really liked the product. He didn't buy because you were all afraid of having a conversation about money. And so now this is where that question earlier comes in. Hey, just a minute ago, you said you would buy if money wasn't an issue. Can I assume you're not comfortable with that price? They're going to say yes. And then now you're able to have a conversation about what they are comfortable with. Are we in the ballpark? Are we in the parking lot? Or are we way out in outer space? And then you come back with another package. First thing you want to do, as soon as they say they're not comfortable with it, you want to take the current package off the table because now it's got to reset. So as soon as they say, I'm comfortable with that price, that whole package has to come off the table. Has to come off. You got to take it off. If you're not comfortable with that price for that product, then we don't need to move forward right now with that. So are we in the ballpark? Are we in the parking lot? Or are we way out in outer space? If they come back and say we're in the ballpark, you make a few tweaks here and there, and you come back with another package that's $100 cheaper, $200 cheaper.
Give us the chicken total one.
Then you simply negotiate and find where their comfort point is and where the value is, and you make everything you do from that point on contingent on a first appointment close. That, hey, are you more comfortable with 910 than you were with 1250? Answer's obviously going to be yes. Well, then are we ready to move forward? If we can do this today, I can do it for you for 950. And you just have that conversation with the ultimate goal, finding something they're comfortable saying yes to. I mean, I know you've heard this 1,000 times, but are you doing it? Are you walking them through that process every time to find that package they're comfortable with? Because here's the thing, guys. Unless they win Powerball the day after you meet with them, their level of comfort on that purchase never goes up. It only goes down after your first meeting, now that they start to forget what you told them. No one ever gets more comfortable with an expense the longer they think about it. And if they're not comfortable enough to make a decision right then when you present it, they're not going to be comfortable making it a week later. They're not going to be comfortable making it a month later. And it's going to become one of those maybes that just sucks the life out of you because they've subconsciously made the decision not to decide.